Hello, and thank you once again for joining us on the NCHC podcast. My name is Paul Gilmore, and joining me tonight for a special appearance is one of our All American Watchlist players, multiple levels of Undisputed National Championships, current star for the CHSA Wolverines, Ty Taylor. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. We are just about a week until Nationals 2024 tips off. So wanted to make sure that we got a chance to talk to you and catch up with you before that tournament starts.
For sure.
I had mentioned in the introduction that you've had the opportunity to reach the highest levels of success in homeschool basketball at different age levels. I remember last year 16U, years before that 14U. And now those same championship level CHA Wolverines are competing at 18U. And so, how do you sustain that track record against what's going to be a tough field at nationals? Having won at every level, is the expectation now we also got to win at 18U?
That's definitely our expectation. Coming in, we just like the way we play together, we all have the same mindset of, wanting to win and be the best that we can. And so going into nationals, this tournament is our mindset is still the same to go win a national championship for sure.
So it's not lost on me, the rack of medals that's behind you. Are any of those the homeschool medals, or are those AAU or any other types of? Is it a mix of everything
It,
behind you?
yeah, it's a mix of both. I have AAU and definitely my CHSA and all the homeschool medals and stuff over the years. So I'm hopefully I can, add some more. So
That's what I was about to say. Looking to add some hardware here in about a week or so.
absolutely.
Speaking of which, speaking of hardware, I guess you were on the first five watch list for All Americans. So we had recognized a group of homeschool athletes that were at the top of the field, and that list has been expanding. But you were on the first five 18U boys that we released. And that's just kind of a short list again of those top homeschool basketball players in the country. So, what does it mean for you to be on that list? Or does it mean anything? And based on how the season has gone, how would you say the Wolverines have done so far this year?
I would just say I'm blessed and honored to be on that list. It's so many talented homeschool athletes that I've played against and, haven't had the opportunity to play yet, hopefully. And, it just feels really good. Um, you know, being part of that top five just keeps me grounded to know that, like, I may be in the top five, but I still have a lot more work to do. And, you can't just get all the accolades and just coast because somebody else who may not be in the top five is still grinding. And, that's just how it is in my family. My parents have basically like driven that into me to keep pushing and not be satisfied, basically.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that insight, and I think that's certainly a healthy way to kind of look at it, especially because, like you mentioned, you don't ever want to settle, you don't ever want to get comfortable, and I think it's a great perspective to have because a lot of people don't realize that till it's too late, and so for you to be realizing that now, I think is certainly an important thing for you to have, and looking at back at last year, we had mentioned earlier that you guys were able to win that undisputed at 16U, and a lot of those guys kind of moved up to this level. So, what would you say are some things you've learned from those past couple seasons with that highest level of success? Does that translate for those guys as y'all move up to this 18U level in any kind of way?
I would say definitely our IQ has definitely is translated a lot better. We still have more to work on, of course, but I think having that championship team last year definitely helps us in the mindset of we've done it once, we can do it again. And, we just have such a high expectation for ourselves and we believe in ourselves. And so that's kind of how we go into the tournament. Like, we've put in the work, um, at practices, outside of practices, and we just all want to get better anyway. So being able to be on the 16U level and win, we're definitely looking to get another win, on the 18U level for sure.
What would you say are some of the challenges that your squad faces as you head into next week?
Definitely our height, because we're one of the smaller teams, but we fight. to the very end. So I would definitely say that for sure.
I'm glad you mentioned that too, because a lot of people, whenever you ask them that kind of question, they're like, "Oh, our complacency or our team chemistry." The fact that you recognized immediately that there is going to be a height difference, I'm interested to see how you guys choose to combat that. With your style of play, and I've had a chance to see you guys at a couple of tournaments now at district and at regionals. You guys had a chance to win the district down there in College Station, so certainly looking forward to seeing you guys compete again. And speaking of which, we are, like we mentioned, we're T minus 1 week until Nationals 2024. So, what would you say you're most looking forward to in this final tournament of the season?
Just playing our best basketball. Um, I don't really think that we played how we can play at regionals. I think there's a lot left on the table that we didn't like display. And, we're just looking to come out at nationals and do the best that we can and show everybody what we're made of.
What has been the journey for you as a homeschool athlete? If you don't mind kind of walking me back a little bit, how did you get involved with homeschool hoops and what has that journey been like so far?
So it's actually kind of crazy because before I moved here to Houston, I lived in Fort Benning, Georgia, and we had never heard of like homeschool basketball. Um, I was lucky enough to be able to play on a private school team um, my middle school years. And so we moved here, and I don't know, I think it was my mom, somebody had contacted my mom or something about homeschool basketball, and we're, like, what is that? Never heard of it. Like, I've been homeschooled my whole life, but we never heard of homeschool sports or like athletics and stuff like that. So um, we went to a practice, and, we basically was just thrown into homeschool basketball. Our first year, we had no idea what was going on. We go to these tournaments in Austin. We're going to a district tournament and regionals, and we were just like so shocked and surprised at like how many homeschool basketball teams there were. And then we went to Missouri, and I remember that last night. I think it was Friday when they had like the 18U championship, and that whole stadium was filled. I was like, "This is crazy! Like it's a big deal." So that's kind of how it went. And I'm just thankful that we were able to find the organization I'm in and be able to play homeschool basketball. So it's been really good.
It's always a fun kind of surprise when that happens. When we were at regionals, one of the referees came into the gym, and I don't think that referee had refed any of our tournaments before. And he came up to me and he goes, "Hey, what is this?" And I said, "Oh, it's a homeschool basketball tournament." He said, "Homeschool? Like homeschool kids?" I was like, "Yeah." And he I could tell he was trying to do the calculations in his mind of of
Yeah.
homeschool plus basketball or the amount of teams plus homeschool. It was just really confusing, but it is a really really cool thing, and I hope a lot of people, through these podcasts or through the exposure that you guys have, just being top athletes, even not even just within homeschool, but being representatives outside of homeschool athletics. When you play public schools or private schools or
For
any of the
sure.
schools in the Houston area in Texas. I hope that it continues to, one, bring God glory, but two, just continue to expose homeschool athletics for what it is, because it always is a fun thing when people just have no clue and then they're brought in and they get to see what it is. Speaking of which, do you ever have people, either outside of homeschool, whether it's AAU or any other, you guys play a certain team, like CHSA plays a certain team. Do you ever have anybody come to you at the gym and ask you why you're homeschooled or why you play homeschool ball? And how do you respond if you've ever come across that?
I don't think I've gotten a question as to why I play homeschool basketball. I have gotten a lot of like, why are you homeschooled? But not as much for basketball. And I mean, they are always surprised when we say we're homeschooled playing basketball. They're like, you're homeschooled playing basketball. Like, usually teams think that it's going to be an easy blowout until we play them, and then they're like, oh, these guys can really play. And so it's kind of a good feeling. I'll definitely say for sure.
So I had a chance to talk to Coach Juwan Player over at the district tournament, and he was telling me that you typically have a way that you go about looking at a game or a tournament where you kind of will set your mind to this is what I want to do in this game, or this is the goal that I have for this game. And the one that he mentioned to me in particular is he said that you had told him, okay, in this game I'm going to score 30 points or something along those lines. So, would you just be willing to share a little bit about your mentality behind how you approach those goals you set for yourself?
So basically, I just, at the end of the day, I just want to play the best I can. Sometimes I'll have a great shooting night, or sometimes I'm not able to finish at all. But it's really the little things, and I try and hone those on, and basically do all the stuff that most people who are just casuals looking at the game of basketball won't notice. Like he has this quote that he says all the time: "If you know the importance of little things, there's no such thing as little things." And so that's basically how I look at it. Like getting a rebound is adding an extra possession for our team. And so, you can score, but if you're not scoring right, obviously you have to be able to impact the game somehow. And so, usually at halftime or something, I'll go over to my mom who will keep my stats, and I'll look at rebounds. How many do I have? Do I have turnovers? Um, you know, how many loose balls am I getting? Or, stuff like that. Basically, just to keep my mind in the space of, okay, well, this is what the team needs right now for us to win, not what do you want to do. And it definitely helps keep my mind focused on the game and helping my team win, obviously. So,
I think that's a good. That's a very healthy way to approach it too, because when you think about it, if you set an off-ball screen that leads to a backdoor cut for a layup, there's no
yeah,
stat for that. There's
yeah.
no, oh,
But
check mark. He set a great screen.
but it's
But
like everybody notices like that guy scored, but your coach is the one or the scouts, they're looking like, oh, you made that happen. And so that's how we try and play as a team anyway, just everybody getting involved.
I love that. And I think too, those impact plays are the ones that ultimately end up affecting the game the most. Because again, you go out there, you score 35, and your next closest teammate has six. That's a little different than, you know, I'm also going to go set up my teammates, allow them to get involved in the game as well. So I think
For
that's a great
sure.
way to look at it. So when you look at the Wolverines and where you guys are heading into next week, if things were to play out the way that you want, right? If CHSA is playing the best ball of the season, what do you think would be the absolute ceiling for you guys?
Definitely winning that championship. Um, I think it would be like such a great feeling. I mean, last year it was great, and that's something that we want to try and do again. Um, I feel like we're really our own competition. We have to push ourselves, and the way that we look at it, like we can really be any team that we think we can. And we just walk in the game, whatever game it is, like we could be playing the number one team in Texas or in the country, but our mindset is still we can, we'll find a way to win. And that's how we try and play every single game. We'll find a way, even if we're down like 15 or 20, which we've actually came back down to 15. And, a lot of people counted us out, but we're looking to, win a championship and prove those haters wrong.
So, if I'm not mistaken, this is your junior season, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so when you look at, and I know it's hard because you try to stay focused on the moment, but when you look at, beyond this season, beyond next season, what are some goals you're setting for yourself, as a basketball player or as a person?
definitely growing my relationship with God is one thing that I'm always, trying to get better at. And, it just starts with small things every day. Like you wake up in the morning and you pray. Just small things like that. Waking up, reading a devotion, eating breakfast. Like it's simple things every day that basically make you a better person. Not just the big things. Like as far as basketball, I would say for sure playing college level. That's really my main goal right now. Which is why I kind of play as hard as I do because it's something that I've had on my mind for a while, and so I think that's a goal that I can achieve, and that's what I'm set out to do.
I can tell how that's a mentality of yours. This idea of if you focus on the little things, then you'll notice they're not little things. Even the way that you described your relationship with God, spending those little moments in prayer and spending time with Him. Um, it kind of leads me to my next question. How does your own personal faith, how does your testimony play into the way that you conduct yourself as a basketball player on and off the floor?
It plays a huge role. Um, we pray every game, right before games. We pray after games, win or loss. I pray with my parents. We just want God to be able to use me, and that's kind of how I play. Just letting God be able to use me to bring glory to Him through the game of basketball because He's the one who's given me all the gifts and talents to play, and I don't want to let Him down by not playing my hardest and giving everything that I have because there are some people who can't, and so I want to be able to help the people, after me, like when I'm gone, like helping younger kids and helping at summer camps, just being able to help them become better people, not only on the court, but off the court as well.
Yeah, that's great. The first word I thought of is when you say that kind of stuff is legacy. We have to leave a legacy for those that come behind us and follow, the people that came before us.
For sure.
So I'm gonna throw you a little curveball. I'm interested to hear this one from you. Do you have any pregame rituals or any pregame meals or things that like you have to do for game time?
Uh, Definitely for a pregame meal, I have to have pasta.
Okay.
Um, I think that's how I play my best is like pasta. So like mac and cheese or spaghetti. Mac and cheese is my favorite meal anyway. My mom always says it's a side, but it doesn't matter to me. Like it's definitely my go-to. Um, Probably pregame ritual. Before tip-off, I do like to jump. Like I get about 3 jumps in. I dap up all my teammates, do our handshakes and stuff. And that's pretty much it. Usually, I'm always ready to go. Uh, and so I just try and have that energy right before tip-off just to get us started. So
So how early before the game or how late before the game are you consuming this pasta?
3 hours.
Okay, I was gonna say if it's like 30 minutes before tip off, you're in the
Oh,
locker
I
room
could
throwing
never.
down
I could
chicken
never.
Alfredo. I think that's a little heavy, but
I've
I
had a
think
couple games where I cut it close, and yeah, it was not good. It was not
okay.
good. So,
Well, Ty, thank you so much for your time. I hope you eat lots of pasta up in Springfield. I hope you find the great Italian places or some of that homemade cooking
oh
up there,
yeah.
and we'll definitely see you up there. And I wish you guys the best of luck at nationals.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
All right.